evening. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having a good time already. I hope your day was good. If you're watching this live, then we're all kind of ending the day together. It's 6:59 p.m. on the East Coast, starting a couple of seconds early, as sometimes I tend to do. And it's going to be a good night. It's a Thursday. Got a lot done today, both for this show, setting some stuff up for tomorrow's show, and a whole bunch of things that are surrounding the show. Already, there's a lot of work being done on the newsletter for November. There's a lot of other stuff being done just for the general redecoration that's going on. But I appreciate you guys hanging out and just being here, and it's going to be a good night. And of course, in the background, the Yankees are playing in Cleveland against the Indians, or the neutered into Indians. And it's a 2-1 game, but it might as well be 8-0 because the Yankees are offensively anemic. They are anemic. I don't know how they've coasted through, like driftwood. They coasted past Kansas City like driftwood. They just found their way to shore somehow. Walks, wild pitches, an occasional home run by Giancarlo Stanton. So, don't worry. It'll all be over soon. Tonight, at least. And in about a week and a half, I won't have to think about this one way or another. Win, lose, or draw. This is the most stressful time of year. It just adds unnecessary stress. I don't enjoy the playoffs. I love this time of year. I just love baseball. And when your team's in the race, I don't know, it kills me. I don't enjoy it at all. Just fast forward. Okay, what do we have tonight, though? Boy, do I have some fun things to do. First of all, the lip reading between Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Somebody at the New York Post did it. So we'll revisit that. Then I have some media from what happened with the Kamala Harris and her appearance on Fox News. That's pretty funny. You know, depending on what side you're looking at it from. If you're part of the other civilization that lives among us, that is all around us, the breakaway civilization all around us, then they think that she shined like a diamond. So we got that. I have a lot of questions to ask you about this stuff because despite all the nonsense and the pageantry that's going on, there are some really interesting numbers that are being put out there. And I'm not talking about just the polling wars that go on between people like Rich Barris and Kyle Silver, and you know who's trying to suppress what, who's trying to inflate the confidence of this. How is the polling being used as a weapon instead of a real metric of what's going on in the hearts and minds of people around you, especially in the lead up to a momentous occasion like an election. It's the betting markets. I want to talk to you guys about what you think might be behind some of the gambling mentality over here, because that's I find that gamblers are a little bit more on the fringe like us. Not all of them are driven by addiction and just the thrill, but a lot of it is calculated, and a lot of it is about being able to see a situation from beyond what is presented to us on the surface, to try to see what is occult, to see what is just out of sight, that actually has a much bigger hand in the outcome of an event than most people really realize or would ever be willing to accept as reality. Aside from, there's a lot of people who believe that elections are just elections and there's no, nothing. The fraud is negligible, and that's I'm sure somebody stuffed the ballot box somewhere, but enough to swing a vote. People don't believe. There's still people out there who believe that elections are completely safe and secure, more secure every day. Well, I want to know what the hell the gamblers are thinking, and I want to know what they know. So I'm going to leave open that line. I'm also, at some point, I'm going to leave open the inside information line again. I want you guys to call in on that. That would be fun, and I don't know. There's plenty more to do along the way. Just a little bit more of a current events and kind of gauging how you guys and gals are feeling. And I hope to take a lot of calls. Tomorrow should be fun. It's Friday. I think Matt's going to be in here, and I'll see if we have another special guest or two. But I might have some spooky questions to ask you. Some topics, especially some rural observations that I want to throw out there, because I think that this would be, I think what I've seen both in the Northeast, in the Carolinas, all, anywhere where it gets rural, and we've spent a lot of time there, I see a lot of the same things that I want to ask you guys about, things that kind of spook me out. And I hope that this hits as, lands as well as I think it will, but I'll tell you about that tomorrow. As for tonight, the number, 914-200-0269. That's the main line. We are not taking calls just yet. I want to present you some material first. And then the inside information hotline, 914-369-1236. And that's going to be really, really, really important stuff. Because if there's anybody out there on the ground who's on the inside somewhere and wants to get something out to the world, you call in. I'm not going to say your name. I'm not going to say anything. And you just go and you tell everybody what your name is, what your moniker, your stage name, and then tell everybody what they need to know. And the secret is safe with me. Okay? Couple things I wanted to say as announcements. The first one up is that we are, as part of the November newsletter, we started a new thread on the forum on quitefrankly.tv. It's pinned to the top, and it's very important. It's called, What Are You Thankful For? The Quite Frankly Bulletin. We want to feature a lot of your responses this year about what you're thankful for going into this holiday season, especially since this is going to be the last installment of the bulletin before Thanksgiving. So please take a couple of seconds, go over to quitefrankly.tv, hit the forum button, get in there, and comment on this. It's, all you need is an email to register, and that's it. Nothing else. That's as easy as it goes. The other thing I wanted to tell you while you're on that forum, please go to this, the book club, The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. You understand? You understand what this means? On Monday, October 21st, that's the Monday that's coming up right now, October 21st, you guys, everybody, this is the first time I'm ever doing a public book club, and it's going to be for the Edgar Allan Poe classic short story, The Mask of the Red Death. This is a short story that I have referenced over the years to, assist me in my analysis, socio-political analysis, my parapolitical analysis. I've used this a lot, and I can't wait to read it with you. And then we have one more week of spooky short stories. That's going to be last week in October. That's The Monkey's Paw by W.W. Jacobs. That's another one, but that won't be public. This one is. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've never done it before, if you're not a sponsor, it doesn't matter if you don't sponsor the show. Just go be a part of it. It's a 5-page short story, and the link is right there in the forum post. And please. Just read it and do the broadcast with us. It's going to be at 9 o'clock after this show ends on the 21st, and I'm really excited for it. So I hope you are too. Why the hell not, right? Okay, well, the Yankees completely suck. Now they're down 3-1. That might as well be 15-0 because, like I said before, little leaguers, and they can't run the bases anymore. All right, here's another one that I have for you. Since we're talking about anxiety and all types of really jittery feelings inside of you all, I have to say, I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but the lead up to tonight's full moon, I have felt more so than ever in my life. And I don't really pay attention to this stuff, but I knew something was up. And you ever go to like an arcade, or you're on a boardwalk and there's one of those electric chair games. You sit in the electric chair, you hold on to the metal handles, you press start, and the whole point of the game is how long can you hold on to the buzzing handles. They start vibrating, and you just hold on for as long as you can. And you think it's easy. Okay, it's just vibrating. Well, you know how the vibration starts scrambling your senses? You don't even feel your arms anymore. Eventually, everything you lose track of your limbs. It's weird. Well, that's what I feel like. That's what I feel like right now. I don't know. I'm sure some of you are beyond all that stuff, but I got a swirling, buzzing pit in my stomach in the days leading up to tonight's full moon, and then I saw this. This has to add to it in some way. From Forbes, election anxiety. Now, I've got some butterflies about it because it's considering how widespread the impact of both outcomes of this election will be, there's a level of excitement, and my work depends on, I have to work that night, and everything that happens afterwards is going to impact my work and how I write. I mean, it's just there's a lot of anticipation, I would say, anticipatory anxiety, if you will. But how are you guys feeling? Are you feeling like is everybody out of sorts out there? I'm sure some of you are just beyond it, but I don't know how you are not feeling butterflies considering the situation. 61% say presidential elections' impact on mental health is negative. How could it be positive? It's designed to be negative. There is nothing rejuvenating about this cycle of abuse that we go through. Nothing rejuvenating. And the other side of psychopaths would agree with us, but for absolutely universally different reasons. It's just nuts. Red, white, and anxious? As the U.S. gears up for upcoming 2024 presidential election, feelings of stress and uncertainty are on the rise. A new survey of about 2,000 U.S. adults from Forbes Health, conducted by Talker Research, uncovers the mental health impacts of the forthcoming presidential election, polling respondents on how the upcoming election has affected them emotionally, how it's changed or impacted their relationships with friends and family, and how they're coping. Well, more than 60% stated their mental health has either been slightly, moderately, or significantly negatively impacted. 46% reported feelings of anxiety, 37% felt stress, and 31% experienced feelings of fear. Well, we're trying to allay some fears over here, have some fun, crack some jokes. But again, I don't know how anybody could be going through that, unless you're just some kind of a monk. How do you not feel any anticipation? Even when you know what's coming. You get onto a roller coaster, you can see the track. You know what's coming. You still have to go through it. Anyway. All right, what do we have? Oh, we have time for one more thing. Take a listen to this. Now, maybe this could be a separate... Should I save it for tomorrow? Should I save it for tomorrow? I'm going to save this for tomorrow. I think so. Listen to this headline. This is from Neoscope. Doctors realize at last moment that they were harvesting organs from a living patient. He was moving around, kind of thrashing, is the quote. He was kind of thrashing around. Now, this is scary as hell. It's part of the reason why the idea of ever having to go under the knife for anything is a scary prospect. I can't stand the idea of even just being put to sleep. I hate the idea. And then there's this. So I'm going to save this for tomorrow because it's not going to be a long read, but I would like to know if anybody out there has ever if a doctor has ever taken something off of you, out of you, or made some kind of physical alteration to your body that you never asked for. I'd love to hear about it. Or maybe they made an alteration that you wanted but you didn't like. So we can have bad rhinoplasty conversations tomorrow. The spookier, the better. Okay, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much. Or have you ever received a transplant and your personality changed? I always wondered about that. You know anybody who received a transplant and your personality changed? Do you believe that it's just a little bit of the person that they received from? Oh man, that's a question. That's a question for the ages. Like just one age. Okay, well, that's what we have for tomorrow. Planting a seed, indeed. So I'll talk to you guys in just a little bit. Let's get this show started. We'll be on the other side in just a second, and I can't wait to start taking your calls. Get them ready, 914-200-0269. And for you inside information people, you insiders, make sure it's your information. Don't tell. I watched a BitChute video last night, and you need to know. No. First person, first hand. 914-369-1236. We will be right back. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Did you wash your ass today?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's
a demonetized permanently channel, and whereas everybody else enjoys a good super chat from time to time, I don't have that option. So if you want to support the show in real time, quite frankly, superchat.com, that's a universal option for everybody, day and night, whether we're live or off air. And I will be picking them up throughout the broadcast. Also, the Rumble Rants and the Gold Pills, they all make the cut. All right, let us see. What do we have? Here. As soon as I got off last night, we were talking about the Godfather-esque funeral powwow between Barack Obama and Joe Biden. This started getting around. This is enhanced audio from the funeral last night. I think that you're going to find this very, very interesting. This is between Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
So is Kamala doing okay?
Nope. She's down, Joe. I think they found out that she's retarded, and now we're basically fucked. Trump is killing us at the polls, so yes, we're going to lose Joe.
Damn it. Wait. What if I come back to run again?
As candidate?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. The only person in this world who is even more retarded than Kamala Harris is basically you. So no, Joe,
on, man.
You're
Just
not going
give
back
another
yet.
shot.
Let's let it all play out. Okay, we'll talk later, Joe.
Okay.
Women looking fine up in here.
Yeah, and Bill Clinton just trying to keep his head above water. You know, whatever the hell was said, it's probably not that far off. Probably isn't. Now, the New York Post did a little something on this. They did a little something. And let's go to it right now. Biden tells Obama she's not as strong as me. And ex-pres agrees that's true at Ethel Kennedy service. Now, the Post brought in a lip reader, and his name is Jeremy Freeman. And this is what we got. President Biden griped to former President Barack Obama that she is not as strong as me, with Obama agreeing that's true. In a stunning off-mic conversation deciphered for the New York Post by professional lip reader, the apparent candidate assessment of Vice President Kamala Harris's standing going into the November 5th election occurred Wednesday afternoon as America's two most recent Democratic presidents conversed at Ethel Kennedy's memorial service in Washington. She's not as strong as me, said Biden, 81 years old, according to the translation, which was produced by analyzing the on-video lip movements during the discussion. I know, that's true. The popular former president agreed. Adding, we have time. Okay? We have time. Yeah, we'll get it in time, said Biden, who was forced by fellow Democrats to relinquish the party's nomination in favor of Harris on July 21st in a mutiny that Obama was believed to support. Moments earlier, Obama said, quote, "It's important that we have some time together," end quote, in a possible reference to campaigning alongside Harris. The dialogue was translated for the Post by Jeremy Freeman, a London-based forensic lip reader who was born deaf and for 16 years has served as a University College London certified expert with witness for litigants. Okay? Expert witness for litigants with the police and journalists. So, listen, there's a little bit more. Well, let's just get to it. Although Harris's name was not included in Freeman's transcription, it's unclear to whom else the conversation could have pertained. Freeman described the conversation as very supportive, and he said he detected no tension between Obama and Biden, as he has been speculated in viral commentary due to Obama shaking his head at one point. And there you have it. It didn't look, I mean, it looked tense, not because there was any bad, I didn't look at that and say, well, there's something going on between these two. It almost looked like guys conspiring to try to figure out a problem. I mean, seriously, what can you blame Joe Biden for at this point? He was only ever doing what he was told. He was only ever doing what he's told. So I never saw it as like some kind of a wrist slapping thing that's going on there. There's nothing else. But beyond that, there's more. Now, that brings us to Kamala Harris on Fox News. And listen, I only watched the highlights of things like this. I watched it, this particular one I watched on the Vigilant Fox highlights. We can do a couple of those right now. And it's not good. It's not good for her. That's just an objective take. I don't think that she does any really good media at all. She's not a good person. She's just a very bad specimen. Okay, that's me being objective, because I give credit to some very bad people for being good media specimens. Okay? Hillary Clinton, very bad person, fantastic media specimen. Marksman, a markswoman, marks person when it comes to just sharpness when she has to go out there and run an op. But this woman, this thing, this go-go dancer is just not it. Let's go to a couple of these clips over here. This is from the Vigilant Fox. The conversation quickly went off the rails when Kamala Harris dodged the Brett Baier question on illegal immigration while simultaneously saying, let's get to the point.
You know, voters tell pollsters all over the country and here in Pennsylvania that immigration is one of the key issues that they're looking at this election, and specifically the influx of illegal immigrants from more than 150 countries. How many illegal immigrants would you estimate your administration has released into the country over the last 3.5 years?
Well, I'm glad you raised the issue of immigration, because I agree with you. It is a topic of discussion that people want to rightly have. And
no, it's not. It's a problem that people want to rightly fix. And it's not about how people aren't like, we need to be able to process these people faster. Gosh darn it, I want new neighbors from Venezuela right now who can't speak the language and know nothing about our culture. We need it quicker, though. They're not getting here quick enough. And give them working papers, gosh darn it. No, people want the invasion to be reversed. Your invasion to be reversed.
You know what I'm going to talk about.
Yeah, but
right
do you,
now,
just a number. Do you think it's 1 million, 3 million?
Brett, let's just get to the point. Okay, the point is that we have a broken immigration system that needs to be repaired.
No, we have an immigration system that is being absolutely ignored. And it is not anybody's right to be here. Nobody has the right to come here and be rubber stamped into the country. Nobody. No one. No one. So yeah, the law needs to be followed. There needs to be mass deportations, and the borders need to be shut down for at least 10 years. At least 10 years. Moratorium on immigration for at least 10 years. That's how bad it is. That's how bad they broke the system. So, so there you have that. Okay, so the next one. The next question involved Kamala slurring her words, saying no future HURM, H-U-R-M, would occur, while blaming Trump for nursing student Lakeland Riley's death. Let me see.
Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before.
And you know, the reason why that we only really talk about the women is because when you're posing these questions to Democrats especially, it's the only demographic that they believe needs any kind of protection. Forget about all of the young boys who have been killed trying to defend their women in the face of illegal immigration, illegal immigrant attacks, or any kind of violent, the violent crime that people say is on the downswing and not rising. Oh, there's plenty of carnage out there. Parents are losing boys and girls all over the country. But this is the only way to get through to a Democrat.
A negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that.
But we all know that 99.9% of the millions upon millions of unknown ghostly people who have arrived over the last couple of years alone are very peacefully riding around electric scooters in New York City delivering Uber Eats to people. We know that. We had a very, very there was no Uber drivers left until we let these people in. So yeah, you got to crack a few eggs to make a flourishing Uber Eats electric scooter army. Got to crack a few eggs. It's very tragic over here. But think about the local commerce, the local electric scooter commerce. I don't even want to listen to it. I don't even want to listen to this shit. What is this? Brett Baer played on that that ad that exposed her for taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners. Let's take a listen to this one.
This particular one from the Trump campaign has gotten a lot of attention.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
Surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. Every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access.
So are you still in support of using taxpayer dollars to help prison inmates or detained illegal aliens to transition to another gender?
I will follow the law, and it's a law that Donald Trump actually followed. You're probably familiar with, now it's a public report, that under Donald Trump's administration, these surgeries were available to on a medical necessity basis.
None, which there are none.
To people in the...
Every pivot. Now, I don't even know the details on that. If that is true, then Trump is wrong too. But I don't know. Does it matter? Doesn't matter. They'll just say something and move on.
The federal prison system, and I think, frankly, that ad from the Trump campaign is a little bit of like throwing, stones when you're living in a glass house.
The Trump aides say that.
So you're saying, yes, I do support this. It's not about I'm going to follow the law. She was very gleefully talking about we need to cut off penises whenever somebody thinks that they may be a girl. There's a difference between I'm going to follow the law where it has been, it has been passed, even though there is no situation on a federal level, which is what she's talking about, federal governance. There's no situation where that could ever even be within the domain of Congress to legislate on. None. Anything that leads to a law being created where a person is entitled to public funds to alter their body because of a mental illness, there is no law that could even be created on that. So it's more so about mentality, agenda, ideology, her own mental illness, and trying to capture that subset of the population as a loyal voting bloc. And then there's more. There's just more. It gets worse and worse. This one is the best one. When he talks about if you're going to turn the page, what are you turning the page from? Which it's a great idea. I mean, she's attached to the hip, to the guy who's in office right now. They went in on the same ticket, and for a little while before he was kicked out of the race, she was attached to his reelection ticket. So what exactly is being changed? We never hear too much about how opposed they were to each other while they were working together the last 3.5 years. So listen to this one.
It's interesting you said turn the page, Madam Vice President. You were asked on 2 different shows last week what, if anything, you would do differently than President Biden. Here's what you said.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind in terms of, and I've been a part of most of the decisions that have had impact.
Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be, and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not Joe Biden.
I know.
And so that would be one change in terms of...
That would be one change. You see, he's a man. I am a woman. And you see, there are things that come with those states of being that are fundamentally different from each other. He has testes. My testes are kind of stuffed inside of me, you know, the ovaries. They're kind of like the female version of testes. And, you know, I have fallopian tubes. There's that. I also have a skin rash, but I guess men can get those too. Holy shit.
But also, I think it's important to say with, 28 days to go, I'm not Donald Trump.
So you're not Joe Biden, you're not Donald Trump, but nothing comes to mind that you would do differently?
Let me be very clear. My presidency will not be a continuation of Joe Biden's presidency.
How?
And like every new president that comes into office, I will bring my life experiences, my professional experiences, and fresh and new ideas. I represent a new generation of leadership.
Oh, okay. So Joe Biden was not, even though Joe Biden, who was in office for like 35, 40 years longer than this D girl over here, was only ever following orders from Barack Obama, who was essentially having a third term through him, okay, through his surrogate, once VP. Kamala Harris is coming in with her own ideas and all the autonomy. That's it. Oh, it's a new leaf. Now, exactly what I'm going to be doing different, I don't know. My genitals will lead the way.
I, for example, am someone who has not spent the majority of my career in Washington, D.C. I invite ideas. I
know you spent the majority of your career, on the arm of celebrities, on red carpets, and doing the groupie thing.
Whether it be from the Republicans who are supporting me, who were just on stage with me minutes ago, and the business sector, and others who can contribute to the decisions that I make about, for example, my plan for increasing the supply of housing in America and bringing down the cost of housing.
Let me get my Constitution out. Nah, fuck it. Why? Why? What was I going to find in Article 1? Article 2, I'm sorry. Article 2. We're talking about the power of the presidency to increase the supply of houses. The president, in times of need, can increase the supply of houses and bring down the price of houses therein. It's so fucking I hate it. I fucking hate it.
I hate them.
All of them. I hate them all. I'm so fucking... Ooh. No. It's the full moon. The moon is full. I can't take it. Oh, geez, Louise. Geez, okay, let's just take a breath. You know what? Hold on. I want to take a breath. Let's take a breath together. Here's a guided this is a channel I go to from time to time. It's called Get Down with Sean and Marley. They're two people with Down syndrome who do guided meditations to kind of calm people and to bring them to a new state of relaxation. Let's just calm down together for a second.
Now, deep breath and breathe out. Deep in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Now, how to become. Breathe in and feel the lungs. Deep your guts and feel your head. And then the brain taking count the goats and lambs.
Okay. All right. Okay, I feel good now. I counted the goats and the lambs and everything feels all right. Let's get... Anyway, she goes on to say the things that she was doing on this is it's just incredible. Just incredible. And Brett Baer, who honestly, this is a guy that I don't pay any attention to. I don't watch the Fox News Network. They all seem like stiffs and that I really wouldn't have anything in common with. But, you know, he asked some pretty daring questions, and he, you know, made her squirrel around a little bit. And then he went on to say that there was actually 4 people. I don't know if it was the Harris campaign or 4 people at Fox that were like that were trying to wrap up the interview, and they're saying, all right, let's go. We got to go. He says, I'm talking like 4 people waving their hands that it's got to stop. And I had to dismount at the end. Now I'm thinking about that. I'm saying, wow. Wowee. And she's going to do Rogan. What is it going to be? A 15-minute episode? The guy talks for 3 hours, sometimes most of the time without notes. I don't know how it all goes. I'm telling you, I have not watched a full JRE episode in years. Maybe not since the first Alex Jones appearance, but this one, I would plan an evening around Joe Rogan and Kamala Harris. I would plan an evening around that, far more than the Trump appearance. Trump always does well in those types of situations. You know, those chilled out one-on-ones. He would do fine. Probably does better at those than he does at the rallies. But this would be incredible. Absolutely incredible to see her sit down in that kind of situation. In fact, here, take a listen to this. Here's Trump on the other hand, in Chicago at the Economic Club of Chicago. It was being hosted by Bloomberg or something. He's talking to some guy, you know, a guy who would probably treat Kamala Harris with a lot more respect than Brett Baer, let's say. Let's just say that much. Take a listen to this clip. I thought it was funny.
What does the Wall Street Journal know? I'm meeting with them tomorrow. What does the Wall Street Journal know? They've been wrong about everything. So have you, by the way. You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this. You're trying to turn this.
You've been wrong about
You're trying to turn this into debate. There are business people. There are business
you're wrong.
people.
You've been wrong. You've been wrong all your life on this stuff.
See, and that right there, my friend, that's Bloomberg. That is why the debates are all produced in cozy little liberal BDSM chambers. They're broadcast studios. They're cozy little studios. They'll get a theater somewhere and they'll fill it up with pillows and stuff and they'll sound treat it and all that. Cozy little theater. That's why they do it on closed sets now and not in front of audiences. That's why. Definitely don't want this guy getting any kind of applause from the audience, because that will warm people up at home. It will warm people up at home. If they don't have David Muir being a newsman, fact-checking newsman, and killing everybody's joy and making sure that it is a joyless event, even though they're all about joy, right? This is what would happen. They do not want 2016 to ever happen again. So they're going to have it in their little BDSM clubs that they call the networks, the network studios, and it'll be very cozy events from now on until people just stop showing up. Here's another one another clip from this Economic Club of Chicago. Then I want to get into all the other things that I have here about the polling, about what this really is all about, and what do all of these surface level displays and the interviews and what does it all mean when it comes down to numbers, and especially betting.
How about this? Gavin Newsom, he's the governor of California.
Newsom. He calls him Newsom. And Bloomberg man comes in to correct.
He's the governor of California.
Newsom.
He signed Newsom, I call him.
Yeah. But do you think?
No, he corrected me. He corrected me. I said, that's the first time I've been corrected.
There are CEOs out here. If they said those sort of things about a rival CEO, they'd be sacked. Do you think it's fine for a president?
But they don't have to survive like me. They don't have to go through what I have to go through. There has never been a president that's been treated like me, so I have to fight my own way.
Well, you made a very good job of.
He signed a bill in California 2 days ago that you don't even have the right to ask a person for voter ID. And if you ask a person for voter ID, of course you have to show voter ID. The only reason you wouldn't do because they want to cheat.
Oh, that's already in New York. I'm surprised that New York is ahead of the game than ahead of California in that respect. As long as I've been voting, you have never had to show ID. Never. I'm waiting for the day that I go to sign my name to the book and find that somebody's already scribbled it in for me. I'm waiting for it. It's nuts. But that's what you have. But here, I would like to ask you a question though. And it's about gambling. It's about all of this stuff. Now, I was looking at Rich Barris. Donald Trump, he put this out there yesterday. This is what Trump had tweeted. He said, Kamala's support is collapsing with black voters. Inflation is hell. Worse, their cities are being used as illegal alien dumping grounds. If Kamala gets 4 more years, the black community loses its political power forever because their neighborhoods will all be majority migrant. And it's very true. It's very true. Listen, we have... There's a lot of things that social media can skew for you as far as perspective, but it also gives us a lot more of an opportunity to just observe people. Just observe people, everyday people who are just spilling their thoughts out there, and you can start seeing trends, small ones. You can extrapolate out to larger populations, larger subsets, whatever. Rich Barris retweeted that and said the following. He says, someone either has really good pollster or just spot-on political instincts. Perhaps it's both, but this speaks directly to what we hear from black voters who are considering supporting Donald Trump. Now, with that being said, obviously there's a lot of desperation that's been broadcast over the last week or so, and maybe we'll get a little bit into that in the second half when we start mixing in your calls and all that. But wherever you're getting your insights into polling, things are often snug. It's either somebody is shading favorably toward Kamala Harris, someone's shading favorably toward Trump, but it's usually, everybody's in orbit and nobody's, especially because everybody's just thinking about battleground states, your secure red and blue states, but then it's all about the battlegrounds, and there's always a little bit of a fight going on there, and it's snug, all right? But there's one place where it is not snug, and it is the betting markets. Now, you might have seen this yesterday. This is when they started coming around a little bit. This is Polymarket, okay? These are out of whack. These are so heavily skewed toward Trump. It's incredible. The bettors are heavily favoring Trump in re-election. And it makes me ask a lot of questions. I was looking at this one. I was talking to my buddy Nick Fad. I was talking to him on Twitter yesterday, and we were going over this one because we're looking at this. You got the RCP average. There's a few things here. First of all, Betfair, Betson, Bovada, Smarkets, those are all foreign betting platforms. So I started thinking about this. When I look at this, I'm thinking about what do they know and what are their intentions? Where American polling groups, they may have interest in suppressing votes and trying to influence outcomes by utilizing these polls in very psychologically manipulative ways. Absolutely, that happens. So, but this is something different. Okay, you would think that foreign betting platforms may not have the same incentives. And I wouldn't just say that they're all just ignorant to what's going on over here. I think I think especially if you're speculating, if you're a gambler, you're paying attention to everything all over the world, especially politics, because that influences markets. It influences the stock market, especially. I mean, it's all the same kind of thing. It's just different. It's just different commodities that you're going on. So then my question became, what do they see in the race against fraud? Because I don't need any polling company to tell me that Trump is actually more popular than Kamala Harris. I don't need anybody to tell me that. Say, frankly, you can't be everywhere. How do you know? I mean, there's so much we pull up over time. It's ridiculous. Okay, it's ridiculous. First of all, just follow it on a gradient scale of what do we know about Joe Biden? What do we know about the impossibility of 2020? And then think about who Kamala Harris is, her history, and how nobody wants her. Nobody wants her. Nobody ever did. Okay? Land of misfit toys. She is in the closet in the land of misfit toys. She's the toy that the toys didn't want. That's just the surface of my analysis. But the gamblers must know something about the reality of our elections, what our elections actually are. You can't go into something like this, be willing to put your own money down, thinking that it's really just about who's gonna get out the vote. You can't. It can't just be about that, because it's not about that. It's really just like in 2020 when I was getting a lot of friends and family, having sidebar conversations with me. So what do you think's going to happen? You think he's going to win? Trump. And I say, well, I mean, it's really just a matter of if he's going to overcome all of the fortification efforts. It's really just a matter of he's going to be able to overcome all the other hurdles that are going to be put in his way that are, they are what they are. I mean, you know it. We can go read the Time magazine article again. That's just all the stuff that they're willing to admit to doing. That's just all that. Forget about all the, well, whatever. Got to be careful these next couple of weeks on the internet. So is it possible that the turnout is just going to be too big for any kind of rigging, any kind of fraud to derail the outcome? Is it that? I've been also reading that the ballot return numbers have been looking pretty sickly compared to 2020 at this time of the year. What do you think it is? I would love to hear from you guys. There's going to be the Inside Information Hotline. That's 914-369-1236. I want to hear inside information. And then there's going to be the open line just for everything. 914-200-0269. It's about 10-2. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a quick break and just clean the slate, come back quick, and just start taking your calls. So let's do that. We will be right back. Fire up your calls, fire up your phones, because there's that and more in the second half. We'll be back in a flash.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
Quite frankly.
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 Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
Dare you.
Stube, who just left a tip. It's good to hear from Stowe Stube again. I hope he's well. I hope everybody's over there doing well. Let's take a gander at Rumble. Rumble is looking healthy as ever. Glad to have you guys there. Let's take a call. 615, you're on the air. Go right ahead. I have you on with me.
Hey, Frank. It's Joe. Hey, I've called in before. But man, I love your show. Obviously, big fan. Listen every day.
Thank you.
Dude, I think really what's going on right now is we're literally witnessing the craziest clownery that is unacceptable to humankind, right? Anyone anyone that's awake to this shit, like watching these interviews with Kamala, are insufferable, and it's beyond thinking that this is some sort of. I don't think anyone can even create a world this dumb. I think it's a bunch of criminals trying to cover their shit, and we're just witnessing it in real time because they own everything. But just those clips you showed of Trump, him sitting there at Bloomberg, You cannot make up that stuff that's coming out of his mouth. If he's a troll, if he's part of the deep state, whatever it is, if he's like a total shill, that's one thing. That's mastery that none of us can comprehend. But watching him sit there in these interviews and just to look at him like a human being is absolutely incredible. To see him just reality is being completely destroyed in front of all of our faces.
You know,
there's a lot of people still asleep.
And Joe, to your point, there is this, and I was talking about this with Adel and Zach not too long ago, but it is just a matter of effortless and maximum effort to. It's almost okay. You remember, like in Sleeping Beauty, where the three fairies are in the woods and they're trying to create Princess Aurora the cake, but they're trying to bake the cake. They're such bad baker. Without,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, without magic, they can't do anything. They can't clean the house. They can't bake the cake. That without the magic, I don't know, one of the fairies, it was like Flora or Fauna or something like that, was trying to bake her a multi-layered birthday cake and like forgot to bake it. So they're trying to pile up cake batter that has no foundation. There's no structure to it. There's nothing. And it just keeps falling over and slopping over. And just the effort to keep this formless cake from slumping over into a pile of shit, that is the maximum effort. That is constant. The resources that are needed. I've said this on the show so many times. When you observe this horribly produced play, you just start to get a little bit of the understanding of the resources that is needed to even maintain the sloppiest of facades, the most unbelievable. Nothing's even believable about it, where you have somebody else that nobody's perfect. You don't align perfectly with anybody else, but you can tell when somebody sits down as just being relaxed and authentic. They have none of those moments. And
everything we're seeing from Kamala is she's just, you see this underbelly, you can just see through it, and you know she, at any moment, she could snap into an absolute tyrant. You see it. It's all over her. I don't know how people buy this shit. I live in Milwaukee, and I see these Kamala signs everywhere. I'm convinced there's some sort of, I don't know what it is, but there is some group out here putting her shit everywhere, like in the medians where it's not even someone's property. There's a sign that's like Kamala and Pammy Baldwin or whatever. And it's just like, dude, who's putting this shit up? Do people really care about this woman? This is unbelievable to me. I don't know. I just don't accept it. I think it's clownery, and it's way below us. Like I said in the chat, I'm on Rumble, and I was just like, dude, this is like, if there's outside intelligence looking at this, they would just kill us. They'd be like, no, this is done. This is done. Like how are we dealing with this? You're seeing this criminality within 50, 60 years of humankind turn our world into an absolute joke. I mean, all around. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It's all a joke, and people are actually physically dying because of this shit, and it's getting out of hand. I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
I'm glad. Thank you for the rant, Joe. I appreciate it, and I hope you call in more, because you hit a lot of stuff on the head there, especially when you started referencing non-terrestrial intelligences, because this is why I am starting to lean more toward the aliens are in control of everything. Because
but do you think they would be that big of assholes? Like, what are they doing? Like, if this is it,
I don't know,
and they're just controlling us this way, what is this? What is this?
I don't know.
You know, like when you think about the old world of like Tartaria and all that shit, it's like, so we went from that to this. Like, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of that? You know, it's got to be just human folly and criminality, because we are a perfect human race. We all have our shit. You know, everybody's got their addictions and their problems, but it would take very few tweaks, I think, for us to be at this higher-minded, higher vibrational state that all of this shit would just go away. And it's just insufferable that we're having to deal with this. It's honestly ridiculous.
I think a lot of people.
Go Yankees! I don't want to keep up all your time. I just wanted to call in because all the shit you've been saying and showing today is just spot on. And damn, thanks for sharing that Trump interview. That was nice to see.
I'm glad.
Honestly, people talk so much shit, and I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, how can you talk shit about this guy?
You know what it is, and thank you. And I'm glad that it invoked this kind of response, because that's what I wanted. I want people to call in. And I know that a lot of you are probably fed up with this stuff. And it's reaching a fever pitch now, because it's been 19 days. It's shit or get off the pot. And from there, we plot a new way forward, and we redouble our efforts, and we get back to living life. But we also have to put our focus into other places. This is a formidable shot in the dark, with the price being a shot in the dark. Then I'll take those chances. Sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like a thrill. It sounds like the Yankees going into the 8th inning down 3-1 and having 2 consecutive home runs, and now they're winning 4-3. So, with only 6 outs to go. Who knows? I mean, that was a thrill. They may still lose the game. Who knows? But there's a lot there. And again, it's the juxtaposition of the maximum effort, maximum resource freak show, and then just, the juxtaposition between them and Trump is hilarious as far as authenticity goes. From a personality standpoint, I mean, we can talk about policy issues all the time, and there's plenty that I can't stand about Trump's platform. Plenty, because there's nobody that really speaks my language when it comes to government. So it's a very high bar. Let's see here. What else do I have? And here's the other thing. Let me take another call first, and I'll dish a little bit more, because I want to talk again on the betting. Is this Mateus?
Mateus, hey, how's it going, Frank?
Good to have you on. Go right ahead.
So I was just thinking about the betting markets, and I'd be more interested to look at the betting markets on Election Day, right? Something doesn't seem right. It seems like one of those, hey, the day before 9/11, let's get some put options in and make a killing off what's about to happen, sort of thing. Sounds very sinister, but I don't trust the system at all.
That's something I also considered, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because I still have I have a couple different scenarios in my head. Now, when I look at those betting polls, which are so lopsided in favor of Trump, whereas everything else is just so tight that it's being circulated. And I actually believe the lopsidedness of those polls to be the truth of the matter. I just think that there's just so many ways that this gets covered up, and I don't know. I believe if the situation is untenable, they'll let Trump take it and just have the explosions go off a little bit quicker. And if they've been promising an end to democracy, so what if they just commit to simulating or stimulating that end to the best of their ability? If Trump does get in, if they can't. And now, on the other hand, the bettors, the gamblers, they confuse me, because they usually are the most honest about things, unless they're completely driven by addiction. I mean, they have to dabble in fringe theory to be able to find unsavory truths that will impact real life outcomes. If that is the case, I wonder why so many people are willing to put their own money down, and why they're so confident about a win instead of concerned about another steal. So, I mean,
and who's to say that misinformation is not happening within those circles too, right?
Yeah.
Let's throw something out there for those smaller guys to put in what they need to put in to make it seem like things are going to go one way, and then at the last minute, like I said, I'd be more interested on the day of the election, what's going on, who are the big players that are putting in millions of dollars or what have you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then on the other hand, there's this. There is there's nothing but desperation on the other side, which is why I start thinking about some of these numbers that we have coming out, and I wonder if there is a shade of truth, just because the behavior the behavior from the so-called Harris campaign has been nothing but desperation broadcast for at least the past week. It's been ramped up. In the last week, it has been nothing but blatant bribery attempts. Nothing but bribery attempts, and most of it is race based. You have Harris.
Oh yeah, let's give black men more weed, and
there was the marijuana, but there was also, first of all, they're dangling. She went on to the Breakfast Club show the other day and dangled the reparations carrot. Then we got the word about the 100% forgivable business loans for people with dark skin. I'm like, whatever the hell that is all about. And then, of course, I don't know. There's just so much. But thank you for the call. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
Real quick, I always felt like if Elon Musk really wanted to do something to help this election out, I mean, he should put up money for whistleblowers, right? Like real money for whistleblowers to come forward with any sort of cheating, any sort of proof of cheating, and just get it out there, right? Like, just expose it more than it was in 2020 so that, people have more of an incentive rather than the, $10 per ballot that they're getting from these Act Blue groups.
That would be something. That would be something. If there are, I think that was one of the more frustrating things about the months between election night 2020 and inauguration day was that there were hearings being held and barely covered by anybody because talking about it on social media and amplifying it was bannable. It was all conspiracy theory and misinformation. Meanwhile, there was like how many? I don't know, at least 10,000 sworn affidavits, which is a legitimate piece of evidence of people putting their reputations and possible jail time down to say that I witnessed a felony, I witnessed a crime. And, there was just no way of getting a lot of despite all of the full court press across social media to make sure things like that were largely kept at bay. It's still something that showed up in the polls. Both Democrats and Republicans all suspected foul play. And,
right.
Let's see what happens, man. Let's see what happens, because like you said, if there is something to be contested, it will be interesting to have at least one platform that is going to be a staging ground for at least some more honest analysis.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be a little nerve-wracking, man. I'm ready to get it done and over with either way, right?
Me too. The hell with this. Oh, I just want to concentrate on a little bit of Thanksgiving and Christmas and then prepare the soul for whatever the hell 2025 means.
That's exactly it, man. Either we're going, scorched earth and we're heading for the hills, or we can breathe a little bit for 4 more years.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for the call, my friend.
All right, man. Thanks for taking the call. You have a good one, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh, I will. I got nowhere else to go. But yeah, the desperation, that's why I think about all things that could legitimize the betting markets, because it could very well be, like he said, is that indicative of the money that people are spending right now on the betting 19 days out, or is that indicative of just what the numbers are? I don't know if those are just odds that are being set when people buy in. I don't know. But the level of desperation in the messaging over the last couple of days, and especially on the race-based economic, the liberal women, that's something else. That's just easy. You don't need reparations with that. Liberal women, they only care about being able to crush babies and sell their organs, so they're never going anywhere. You promise a liberal woman legal murder, and they couldn't give two shits about the economy. Everyone else is being bribed with promises of getting their palms greased. And but meanwhile, the gamblers are putting down their money the opposite way. Is it just FU money? Do they know something that we don't? Are they totally blind? What do you think? And now here's another thing I'll put out there. It's not just the gamblers, apparently. Donald Trump was on with Patrick Bet David. That is the founder of Valuetainment. I just saw this clip today. This was shared by Bad Hombre. Bad Hombre. And he said, whoa, President Trump just revealed that Apple CEO Tim Cook called him this morning to discuss outrageous fines imposed on Apple by the European Union. This was posted this morning on the 17th of October around 10 a.m. Now, the word is out there that the EU is looking to bring some kind of legal action against X, Twitter as well. I guess they're really strung out and need some cash to pay for all the refugee welfare checks. But take a listen to this, because this is very interesting. When you consider what are the betting markets saying, what are the polls saying, who is, the desperation of one party over another, the cool, calm collectedness of Donald Trump wherever the hell he goes, even though they try to paint him as a rapidly deteriorating maniac day by day, which is just ridiculous. You remember Putin 2.5 years ago, rapidly deteriorating, he was dying, 17 different terminal illnesses. You remember that one? Insane. But listen to this real quick and real close. It's only a minute long.
And Tim Cook called me up directly, and he did it himself, didn't have to pay 10 cents, and I gave him 100% of what he wanted, because he was right. I mean, you can't compete with Samsung, and one's paying a tax. But I said, you got to gradually move your company here. But then 3 hours ago, he called me. He said, I'd like to talk to you about something. What? He said, the European Union has just fined us $15 billion. I said, that's a lot. I know the feeling, because I get fined too in fake cases. But I don't know if his case is fake yet, but it's a lot. Then on top of that, they got fined by the European Union another $2 billion. So he's a $17 to $18 billion fine. I even said about Apple, can you pay that? I mean, do you have that guy? That's a lot of money. And he said something that was interesting. He said they're using that to run their enterprise, meaning Europe is their enterprise. And I said, that's a lot. I said, but Tim, I got to get elected first. But I'm not going to let them take advantage of our companies. That won't, be happening.
So I ask you, why is Tim Cook of Apple calling on Donald Trump for counsel on problems with the European Union 19 days before an election? Now, I said the Obama-Biden funeral video was very Godfather-like. Well, this right here, this move by Tim Cook is very Johnny Fontaine. Very Johnny Fontaine move by Tim Cook coming to the Don for mediation. That's the reason why I generated that image for the thumbnail for the show tonight. I said I wanted Donald Trump sort of in the vein of Don Corleone with the cat in a tuxedo on the day of his daughter's wedding. Now, is Tim Cook just hedging his bets and calling both candidates? He could be. Or is Cook, like so many of our gamblers out there, seeming to believe that there is no stopping the reelection of Donald Trump this time around? It could be one or the other, and maybe even both. Who knows? Who knows? But the first thing I would say to Tim Cook if he called me up? I would say, sure, I could help you out, Tim, if you take the Indigenous Peoples Day and Juneteenth bullshit off my fucking iPhone calendar immediately. Allow people to delete that shit off their fucking calendars, please. Kwanzaa, too. Let's do the whole kit and caboodle. Allow us to take things off of our calendars. Even Thanksgiving, please. I don't even care. Let me put my own holidays in and stop feeding me this bullshit, Tim. How about that? Let's take a call. Hello, Lindsay.
Yeah. Hi, Frank. How you doing?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
Good. I just wanted to add a little something about the whole Vegas odds thing.
Yeah.
Just remember now the RNC is being run by a Trump and not by a Romney. So that might have some play in the odds.
Yeah. Why
Maybe.
not? Why not? I always like to say it is our job most of the time to speculate until our speculation is soundly disproven. Because who are we going to get a straight answer from? It could be anything. There's so many motivations out there.
Oh, absolutely. But it
Makes a big difference.
It does. I think it makes a really big difference having Lara at the helm as opposed to Ronna, who did not like Trump at all. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just our 2 cents.
What's up, Frank?
Hey.
Jack from Jersey.
What's going on, my friend? It's good to hear from you guys.
Long time no talk, man. I miss you, buddy.
Oh well, listen. It's good to be missed, but you know where to find me every night, or you can just email me if you don't get through. My oh my!
Got it,
Mets Yankees, come on.
Hey, listen. I would love it. The Yankees are they're 3 outs away, defensive outs away from going up 3-0 right now. I thought that for sure.
Know.
So
we've got it on the other.
Killing me.
Jeez. Okay, boys.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Frank.
See?
It's great talking
you, buddy.
to you.
See, she's trying to get in between us.
I know. Talking baseball, that always happens.
That's the way it is. All right, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Be well. That's so nice. Yeah. We'll see. Another call. 912, you're on the air. Give me what you got.
Yeah, I was just, what's going on, Frank? How you doing?
Good. It's good to hear from you.
Okay. About the betting markets, I know a lot of people that do a lot of sports betting and stuff, and it's really indicative of where the money's going. So they set the line, let's say it's at 50%, and then a lot of people are loading up on Trump. So it's a lot cheaper to get the Marxists in there. So it's a cheaper ticket. So you can put in less and get more for your money. So that's basically what it's showing is 60% of the people or 60% of the money is actually on Trump. It's got nothing to do with who sets the lines and all that normally.
Yeah, but again, 60% of the money that is all tied to individual decision making on how they think this thing is going to shake out.
Correct.
So I mean that in itself just makes me wonder because it's one thing to say go with your gut and go with your favorite team in a situation. It's another thing to dig deep and to see to check out the rumors of who's injured and who's bullpen and who's got a hamstring pull. How's that going to affect him in a running situation if it's football? And trying to get beyond it all and maybe just I don't know some fringe theory to try to pull together a better scenario that the average person would be able to form if they were only receiving information from CNN. It's just something I wanted to consider.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's also they watch the games.
Yeah.
They watch the games. They see what's going on. Well, I mean, you look at the rallies, you look at all the people coming to the rallies and whatnot. I mean, you see all that. But also, if it gets to 70-30, people are going to start putting a little bit of money on Kamala going, God, these odds are great. I can put 30 in to get 100.
That's a great point right there. It's if you get 100-1 odds on anything, you better put at least $10 on it.
Exactly.
So why the hell not? I totally get you. That's a fantastic point right there. So, okay. All right. Is that all you wanted? I thank you for that perspective.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I was just, that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for calling in, my friend.
All right. You betcha.
All right. Take it easy. All right. Listen, we're going to go on a really quick break. And when we come back, more of your calls and, more of your calls, especially the Tim Cook thing. Forget about the betting markets for a second. Why did Tim Cook call up Donald Trump? And another thing, are you voting early? Donald Trump has been big on voting early. I had a wonderful conversation, a series of conversations at the Jay Gulanello Perpetual Health Retreat in Martha's Vineyard with a wonderful viewer of ours, Noah from Texas, who actually used to work as part of the ground game for the Obama administration, who has seen the light ever since. And what he laid out to me was how important it is to, if this is the way that the game is being played, there's got to be early voting. There's got to be busing people to the polls, that Republicans, that any opposition to the Borg is going to have to at least consider playing the way that they play. So I was wondering, are you guys going to be voting early? We'll talk about that when we just come back. We have about 40 minutes left, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
This is Jay with Car Guys New England, and you're watching Quite Frankly.
Welcome to Perpetual Health Minute, brought to you by Quite Frankly. Now, some of you may have seen this recent Time magazine article making the rounds on social media. Why one dietitian is speaking up for ultra-processed foods. Now, the article is relatively pedestrian, where the dietitian defends ultra-processed foods despite the fact that they're linked to an increase in chronic disease rates in adults and children. But the interesting thing, this is not the original title of the article. I watched the title change in real time. The original title is, What if ultra-processed foods aren't as bad as you think? Now, why the change? On social media, there was an uproar between health professionals and people with common sense who realize ultra-processed foods are not healthy. And what does this tell us? It tells us that if we reject the bugs and eat the meat, and reject highly ultra-processed foods and eat real foods, at some point, somebody listens. If you like this video, please follow the new Perpetual Health Rumble channel. You can also find us at perpetualhealth.substack.com. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Back to the show.
So I have some more stuff. So that's the real question I want. Remember, the inside information hotline is up. Is all open too. If you have any inside information, if you are an insider and you want to call in and you want to drop a big deuce on people's laps, then you just call in right now. And if even if it's a LARP, call in and make it the biggest LARP you can dig up. But we're gonna know if you're lying. You better be a good LARPer. Okay, let's see. The question here now for the last leg of this show is this: why do you think Tim Cook called Donald Trump this morning? Why do you think that? Is he just hedging his bets? Did he call everybody? Did he call everybody? Or does he know something too? Is he casting his own bet? The other thing I want to ask you is, are you voting early? I know in New York over here, early voting is on the 26th, and I'm telling you, I might do it. I might go do it. I might do it just to get it out of the way and to, I might do it. And I don't see why anybody shouldn't. I really don't. I would never mail in a vote. That I wouldn't do, but I would go early vote in person. Whatever is involved with that, I have to go check it out. But I want to know what you have done. And let's hear from you. 914-200-0269. And the inside information hotline is 914-369-1236. And we have an inside information hit right now. Inside info, you're on the air. Who is this? You can give us a stage name if you like.
Hey, Frank, this is Dave.
Hey, what's going on,
from
Dave?
Virginia.
Good to have you on. So what do you have for us? This is a very exclusive line.
Yeah, I think, well, you had asked about the Tim Cook's call. I think he's scared. I don't think he can find any friends right now, and he knows he's in trouble. And so maybe he's having kind of a come to Jesus moment. Who knows?
Okay.
Maybe things in Europe turned a way that he didn't expect or wasn't led to believe, and maybe it's a terrible sudden awakening moment. You know?
Yes, it could be.
You never know. I did vote early. I went down and voted early yesterday.
This is not inside. But this is not inside information. Do you have any inside information?
Do I have any inside information?
Yes.
No.
What the heck? Okay. All right. Well, because nobody's knocking down the door on that line, I'll let it slip for now. But you went.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I have it up on the screen. Okay. I'll put this one back up again. So real quick, you said you went to go. You already voted early?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Now you said you're what state you're in? Virginia?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia. Yeah.
And how was that? That experience? Is it? It's just. It looks like election day, but just a lot less crowded.
Yeah. To be honest, I was surprised at how crowded it was. And the missus had suggested going just in case, whatever. I think a lot of people are concerned about, and I don't really understand that because I don't picture sort of violence around the polls. I don't think that's going to happen. But if it does, it'll be like a shark attack case where it happens in one place. It's everywhere on the news.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, we went to vote, and I was surprised by how many people were there. I really was. We didn't stand in a long line or anything, but I didn't think we'd see many people at all. But it was nice and bustling. People were busy down there.
Well, thank you for the insight. That's it's a great call, and good thoughts on Tim Cook as well. On the open line, let's go. Sandy, is this you? Hello?
Frank.
Hello?
Frank.
Yes.
Frank, can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome.
Hey.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to the Twitch crowd. They saved my life. I want them to know.
Who's this? Sandy?
This is Kirk.
Kirk. And how did Twitch save your life? There's a great group over there, but you want to expand on that?
Well, the the wife left 2 years ago, and I started watching the Twitch and communicating with them, and now they're wiped out in North Carolina.
Well, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you. There's always something. There's always different cultures that form in different chat rooms, and I love hearing about it. And that's a very proud group over there on Twitch, and I love them very much. So there's your shout out, and I'm glad you got through. Anything else you want to say?
I want to say God bless America and Trump 2024. Where we go one, we go all.
Sailing into that fog together. Thank you so much for the call. Thank you. 914-200-0269. Are you voting early? What do you think about this? Doc Keck is joining us right now. It's great to hear from him. Lay it on us. What the hell have you been thinking all night? It's got to be good.
Oh, man, yeah, just in regards to this Tim Cook call over to Senor Trump, I think the reason that he called him is because he knows he can't call the administration or anyone within it, because he knows that the Dems share the Euro ethic, and they would agree with the European fine, and that the Democrats would only lament the fact that they haven't yet attained the power to do the same in the U.S.
Do you think that when he talked to Donald Trump, though, he said, oh, by the way, you can mention that I called you? Do you think that he would be perturbed that Donald mentioned that he received a call from Tim Cook and as a way for international economic mediation? That's the big thing there. If he says that he got a call 2 or 3 hours before, we got 2 or 3 hours, before that show had started with Patrick Bet-David, and Tim Cook wasn't just talking about the weather. He was talking about some pretty significant economic mediation for cross-continental mediation at that. That's a serious endorsement, if you ask me. Because why would he call him if he wasn't a leader figure in that situation?
Absolutely. You want to lay the foundation. I think it also gives a very good opportunity for Trump to, again, Apple is a thing. So at one point it was like, if I'm not mistaken, one of the most valuable companies in the world. Not only that, but it is kind of its own culture. So by saying that the leader, in essence, of that culture has come to you seeking advice for a solution and that you're open to it, I think that also, it just kind of chips away a little bit at kind of like, the Skeletor image that MSM kind of paints him as.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
That's one benefit.
It is. And that's I wonder about that. And I'm glad you called in on it. Was there anything else that caught your attention tonight?
Well, yeah, basically, I mean, when Tim Cook called, he calls him like the Don. He says, "Let me make you an offer. Your camera feels. I have $16 million for the Europeans. If you can maybe help me with this, legally, maybe I can fault you a couple bones. Maybe you can mention my name, endorsement, but not really, kind of thing,
You can act like a man." What is this? Oh, man. I don't know. That is a really interesting piece of media, and it should not be discounted. It really shouldn't. Unless Kamala Harris shows up on The View tomorrow and says that she got a call from Tim Cook, and they say, okay, we see what Tim's doing now. But yeah, to your point, they're going to be a lot more Eurocentric, yes.
Yeah, well, they would be. I mean, they share the Democratic kind of like, National Socialist kind of edge, which is kind of, basically a world oligarchy that, is considered the deep state and kind of like, but I'll leave that alone maybe for another show.
Hey, listen, anytime you call in, I'm happy. So thanks for dropping that on us.
Absolutely. Anytime. Many blessings, Frank. Thank
Many
you.
blessings, my friend. Be well. Let's take another call. 262. We're really flowing tonight. Who's this?
Hi, this is Kala. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Kala.
Hey, about voting early, my thoughts. If I vote early and then the other side can count it, they can create a ballot to negate my vote. So I'm going to vote on the day.
Okay, on the day.
What are your thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts, and that's why I was wondering. I don't know what people are excited about or skeptical about with the issue. I know that Trump has been. Encouraging people to vote early. I know people are kind of split on that. So it's just a. I'm curious about what people are doing, and for me, in about 9 days is when I can go do it. I think the 26th it begins in New York, and I was considering it only because whatever. So that's interesting to hear, and I'm just happy that you shared.
Those are my thoughts. Yeah, I mean, if we all vote early, then they know exactly how many votes they got to create to beat it.
Yes.
That's all. Love the show.
Well, thank you. And the only thing about that is, the early voting stuff is down. The ballot, the mail-ins are down. Like I said, that the early numbers are looking sickly compared to this time in 2020. Now, obviously, there's a lot less reasons. There's a lot less reason for it to be high. People are not confined to their houses. They're not afraid of being wiped out by a deadly virus. They're not there's so many things at play here that, and there's also a lot less people here. Let's be honest. God knows how many people are actually dead right now. God knows how many people are actually dead right now over the last 3.5 years for a number of reasons. We have seen all the excess death numbers. They are significant. They are largely underreported and not often talked about. Start seeing some crazy things on the Daily Mail. What is it? I was going to talk about this, or I might have saved it for when Jay Gulanello comes on. Listen to this headline. The astonishing link. This is from the Daily Mail. Now, it's behind a paywall right now, so whatever. The astonishing link between having COVID and heart attacks. It's astonishing. As more fit and healthy young women suffer coronaries, doctors close in on a cause. Thank God they're getting closer. They're working so hard, those doctors. I mean, there's still that going on. Never discount that. But who knows? Let's see. Let's just take some more calls. 313, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Healthy young women suffer coronary.
303.
Craig?
Yes.
Hey, it's Craig from Ypsilanti, Michigan. How are you, man?
Hello, Craig. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Thank you. First time caller, of course, as you probably know. So I just wanted to give some information about Michigan. It sounds like I'm watching this pretty closely myself. I've been watching this pretty closely since about 2015, like a lot of us here.
Mm-hmm.
But this cycle, it seems like Michigan is just flat out in the middle of this. Like we've got a bullseye on us over here, and everybody in the pundits and the media, they seem to be saying the same kind of thing. Oh, it could come down to this one, these three counties in Michigan, and what they're talking about is Flint and Pontiac and Macomb and these kind of areas, which they're kind of toss up. But I live in probably one of the most liberal, quote unquote, progressive counties in the country, if you will. It's Washtenaw, where Ann Arbor is, the University of Michigan. And I can tell you, the people over here seem to be changing really fast. They seem to be catching on really quickly.
Really?
And so, yeah. I mean,
do you have any aside from looking at reading local news and all that, how about personal firsthand experiences, anecdotes? You're having different interactions with people personally?
Yeah, so just for example, I live in not the greatest neighborhood. There's a lot of crime where I live. It used to be run by the Crips, if you will. So they cleaned them out, and then COVID came back and brought things back in, and so it's the house values are going up, but the crime is too, so anyway, long story short, there's it's not the highest income earners, if you will. And so one day, and this is just cute little anecdote, but one day, and it's months ago, when the first assassination attempt happened, and then people started to try to catch on because I literally was outside in my front yard. I own my house here. I'm out there. I'm talking to my mom. I think she'd just come by for something, and all of a sudden I hear this girl on her cell phone, young black girl. Probably about 16, maybe 15, 16. And she is on her cell phone riding a bike down the road. And she's like, I can't even get my head around this stuff. I don't even know what to think now. And I'm hearing these kinds of comments more and more. And it was the day of the assassination, right? So it's like the news is seeping in. I've got neighbors around me as well that will give you some heads up as well, that there's no way these people are going to vote Democrat. And so the interesting part is I live in Ypsilanti Township. Well, Ypsilanti Township is going into the third. We'll have the same supervisor for 3-4 year election cycles after this election. Because why? Because there's not a single person that's not a Democrat running in this township. The entire township government is Democrat. They run unopposed almost every time they run, including this year. There was nobody on the ticket that wasn't a Democrat in any position in this township this year. None. And yet that's how they secure themselves. But the person who is the supervisor, her name's Brenda Stumbo. Interestingly enough, the name Stumbo is on the Civic Center where all the offices of the township are. Her family owns that. Do you know, I've been on the phone so many times with her. I used to have I had her cell phone number on speed dial. We'd have these long time, hour-long conversations on a Sunday evening about things that needed to change in our community here. She was on the same page with me a lot of the way. But now she's so cozy, she has no opposition. And whoever is her handler, because she's definitely got one, she's from Kentucky. And she's running all the people on the plant. She's running the plantation, basically, in Ypsi Township. In 2016, 79% of this township voted for Hillary. 79 to 83% vote Democrat every election cycle out here. But this year, I can guarantee you it's going to break. Because the gentleman ran against her this year as a Democrat. He didn't want to run as a Democrat, a black man. She's white. She's from Kentucky. And I believe she's single because she goes by Stumbo, which is her father's name. So I'm assuming that, maybe a bad assumption, but nonetheless, the gentleman, Alex Thomas, that ran against her, I had him on the phone just 2 days ago. And I'll tell you what happened, just real quickly. I called up the township office because I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to go try to find out what my options are for early voting. I didn't know what the schedule was for the township. So I basically got on the phone, called up the clerk's office, and asked the question. The girl, well, I'll say girl, the feminine voice on the other end of the phone that answered, named itself Andrew, told me when I asked that question, what are my options and my family's options, because my parents live 2 miles down the road in the same township. I said, what are my options for early voting? He, it, she, whatever, says, well, and I don't know why that would have caught her off guard. She's in the clerk's office. They're the ones that run our election cycle. But she just seemed really flabbergasted for some reason. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I don't know why. But
okay.
Nonetheless,
well, let's wrap it up a little bit, because you're painting a very interesting picture of local transformation, and also not only a local transformation with everyday people, but local corruption and people trying to hold on to old systems that they used to have without any kind of competition. So I see the picture you're painting. But let's wrap this up.
He or she, it says October 29th to November 9th. That's when early voting is. Now, I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I sat silent for a minute. Now, you see the flaw there.
Mm-hmm.
I said early voting. November 9th is 4 days after the election. When I called her, when I called her out on it, she turned around and gave me 1,000 different numbers. And I called up the supervisor's office after the fact, and I said, look,
so
somebody's given wrong information.
Okay,
here.
so
I took it to the Republican Party, tell them to shine a spotlight on the township, because this township is key around here.
You got blockaded.
I'm telling you right now.
I get you.
Yeah.
I got you, and I appreciate the call. You got blockaded, and that is probably a story that is going on all over the place, and perhaps not with a sufficient amount of people telling it and bringing light to it like you. But thank you for calling in for this.
Yeah, but so the bottom line is, anybody in Michigan, our early voting doesn't start until, like yours, October 26th, runs till the November 3rd.
Gotcha.
But you can go down to the township office, request an absentee ballot, fill out the application from there, do your ballot, and hand it in without having to go through the mail-in process. That's my whole point of my call. This is what has to happen. If you want to vote early in Michigan, you go up to your township or your clerk's office, and you ask for an application for absentee ballot. You fill it out. It's 3 lines: name, signature, and date. And then, give it to them. They'll immediately give you the ballot. That you take the ballot over in the corner, fill it out, put it in the thing, and then
thank you. Okay. Well, there you go. And that is the absentee. So there you have it. Absentee ballot. They're going to stonewall you. They're going to sandbag, especially if they start feeling like people are doing things and acting outside of the bounds that is usually a very controllable situation. Listen, he gave a lot of information, and he told a story that is very important to hear, because I think that's happening all over the place. The local makeup, at least mental makeup, who knows for how long, who knows how far the metamorphosis goes, how lasting the change is, but people are changing. The behavior of people are changing. They're seeing things. They're feeling things change that they don't like. It's not business as usual, but the people who, and the groups who hold on to local, regional, state, federal government, they want it to be business as usual. They like the access. They like this stuff. And so there's going to be a lot of invisible battles being waged on a local level all over the place. Now, there's just a lot of that going on. All right, so let's see here. Do I have any more time? 8:41 p.m. I have a few other calls coming in. Let's see. Oh, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. The Yankees just gave up a 2-run home run to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th with 2 outs. So there goes the First major blemish on the golden child, Weaver. Son of a bitch. That sucks. That sucks. Anyway, let's talk about the election. Let me cheer myself up. Let's talk about the election. Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Frank, it's the Sentinel. Good evening.
Hi, Sentinel.
Yeah, hey, I started working for our local county office as an election day worker after the 2020 election. So we get training before every election for 3 hours for a regular election worker and 5 hours for a supervising judge. And because when we work election day, we have to vote early. And we have the options of mail-in or going into the county office and voting during early voting. And ours starts on Monday. So next week sometime I'll vote early.
Okay. So now, is this the first time you've done it?
No, this will be the fifth election since 2020 that I've worked as a Shawnee County worker. So
okay, all right. Well, but as far as early voting goes, is that something that you do often?
Yeah, since 2020.
Since
that's
2020,
how I've had to vote.
Okay.
That's how I've had to vote because I work election day.
Gotcha.
And I can't go to my polling location because I'm working another one.
And it's all in person. It's not the ballot, the absentee ballot that's been around since the Civil War. And the absentee, that's the other thing that everybody should also remember is that there's a difference between these 2020 style mail-in ballots and the absentee ballots. Absentee ballots is actually an identification verification process to it.
Yeah, so when I was deployed, I did absentee ballot because I was over in Iraq. So I did that twice, 04 and 08. So, yeah, that was a process through the Army back to my state.
Okay. All right. Well, it's good to know that people like you are out there working on that night. I'll be working, but I'll just be here in this seat and taking calls from people. But it's good. Now, have you ever seen anything that has troubled you, or is it all smooth sailing in your district?
So nothing that was really serious. I had some questions about our process. So we get enough ballots for our precincts that we're working for everybody who lives there that's registered to vote, even though the county knows that half or a third have early voted or got an absentee ballot. And when it's over and we shut the machine down and we pull the memory stick and pull the signed register of how many votes were cast, we can see the number and the percentage on it. We just lock the unvoted ballots in the machine and then leave it there and then lock the church up and leave. So we do that in 87 places in the county. And I really don't know how we get rid of those unvoted ballots, but they're locked in a bag. There's a number written on it, and there's a receipt that the supervising judge has on how many they signed for and how many they left. That's an affidavit that's auditable. So conceptually, there shouldn't be any issues with ballots. It's just I don't like leaving the ballots there in that voting machine with no, and they're not taken somewhere and locked up.
Yeah.
More.
Well, there's a lot more reason to be nervous about the security of things and chain of custody and all of that. But again, thanks for the call and thanks for giving us a little bit of how things work where you are.
All right. Hey, thanks. Have a great night. Good show. Thank you.
All right. Be well, my friend. Be well. All right. Let's get to our super chats. I want to get to those because we're just about done over here. Let's see. Car Guys New England says, Happy Thursday, Frank. Well, thank you, Car Guys. Hello Kitty says, Frank, hey there. I know this is not the topic. However, did you receive Aurora's birthday present? Silver coin, Hello Kitty stuff, etc. Reason I'm asking, George has decided to automate main mail facility thus far. Epic fail. Yes, the Hello Kitty thing. Was that a remote control something? Absolutely. And thank you so much for it. You didn't get you should have gotten a thank you back. Whenever gifts come in like that, it's very hard for us to ignore them and just, oh, this is nice and thank you. We always send thank yous, and especially if somebody sends an email address along with it, something like that. So I hope that whatever we sent back wasn't lost, because I feel like that was weeks ago. Well, it was. Her birthday's on the 14th of September, so that's about a month ago. Jay Britt says Stowe Stube for president. Oh, I agree. Let's get that guy in office immediately. The whole world would be better for it. Hey, would you blow me, too, on Rumble with the sole Rumble rant for the night. Says, I bet the election will be canceled and there'll be a new one in the 5th of January. Can you imagine that? On the 5th. Before the big day. Chatty KC. This is all on quitefrankly.tv, the gold pills provided by pill.net. Chatty KC says, not a monk, but definitely self-isolating from negative vibes. It's very good to do that. And there will be a lot of that. There will be a lot of that soon. Definitely going to have a couple of days. Leading up to the election is going to be nuts. We got great guests coming on this show. Let's just look at the guest calendar for a second. Next week, we've got the Public Book Club on Monday. Jeremy Reese is coming by to talk about UFO and spooky science on the 22nd. Bob Motta, Defense Diaries, is coming on to talk about some of his creepiest cases that he's ever worked. We have Alex Petkus. He does ancient history. So we're going to have that on the 24th. 25th, Matt, and I believe that we have Sean Farage calling in for a couple of minutes on that Friday night. Jeremy Ryan Slate and Roger Stone, Take Two, on October 28th. On October 29th, Really Graceful. Grace is coming on to do a little bit of a report about what weird things are happening around the country. On October 30th, I'm so excited to do this one. Now, we might have George Alexopoulos in the studio for that night, but even if he doesn't come in, which I have no reason to believe that he won't, that's when the night we're going to be doing our military paranormal stories that we have the thread up on the forum has been building for a couple of months. We've got about 11 things in there, but I have other spooky stories that we can bring up as well. So we'll have a general ghost story line open that night. On the 31st is Dr. Albert Taylor. And then, dude, what's there to be said? November 1st, it's Matt. It might be our last night with Matt, our last Friday. God forbid. And then there's Rich Barris coming on November 4th, the day before Election Day, to give us a little bit of a primer. And who knows what else we'll do that night. It honestly will just be like an extension of Halloween. I think Halloween is going to last until about November 6th this year. I think it's going to go from 31st to about November 6th, though on November 1st, I will be bringing up the Christmas tree. We don't put the decorations on until later on in the month, but that tree is going up. I need that in my life quickly. James Corbett, November 11th. Timothy Alberino, November 14th. We're going to be talking about whether or not there was a nuclear war on Mars. We got an extreme adventure athlete coming on with us on November 27th. That's the night before Thanksgiving. Matt Dawson. I can't wait to talk to him. That's going to be great. So there's plenty going on. All right, on quitefrankly.tv, thank you, Chatty KC. Thank you, Captain Flint, Sean Joe, Witchy Poo, Sean C. Blanche. Witchy Poo again says, we have voter ID in Louisiana. Good for you guys. Wendy says, love you, Frank. Thank you. Paulie9363 says, home run champ. Yeah, well, there's a couple of home run champs tonight. Now they may lose. When you're one strike away from going up 3-0, and then, I don't like this. They're going to have to push one across. Ugh. At least they get rid of that stupid ghost runner in extra innings in the playoffs. It's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Stowstube, thank you for the cookies. Delona, thank you. Stowstube and Delona getting into a fight right now. And Witchy Poo joined in. That's just the way things go over there. Holy shoot. Thank you, Good Dog 45. Rise Attire says, this, in a sense, is a controlled wake-up operation, in my opinion, and all of our others, and a lot of others smarter than I. A controlled wake-up operation. Who is in control? Who is in control? That's my question. That'd be interesting. Brewbark says, Jovan Pulitzer gave excellent advice on Roseanne's podcast on taking your unopened mail ballot with you. Oh, I saw a few segments of him on that show, and that's where my heart sank in hearing about what's already been in place in processing these illegal aliens. Just nuts. Okay, Brewbark, thank you. Jovan Pulitzer, Delona, Witchy Poo, and My Tea Patriot. Thank you, guys. It's great to have you all here tonight, and that's just about it. Now, after the show is done, on QuiteFrankly.tv, we have a Throwback Thursday for you, brought to you by All Things Art Bell, and it's all witchcraft. Art Bell and Evelyn Paglini, that's from 1997. Another one from Dreamland. So it's all spooky, fun Art Bell stuff on QuiteFrankly.tv when this ends. So please, by all means, if you're not over there right now, hop on over, have a good time. And also the October 2024 sponsorship special is still on with the Postcard Club. There's only like 6 spots left on Patreon. If you want to get a monthly postcard, get in on those. If you become a monthly postcard sponsor, not only will your first delivery be one of these awesome Halloween things that we have, the Halloween whatchamacallits, postcards, but my oh my, if you love the nightly show and if you want to see it grow and if you always have a gaping hole in your heart whenever we're not on air, consider becoming a sponsor, because you get to look for something in the mail every month. If you go on the postcards, you get something in the mail other than guilt trip reminders from your hygienist. Come and see me. I haven't seen you in 2 years. Your teeth are rotting in your mouth. Plus, you get Sunday streams and book club and the newsletter and more, including the Quite Frankly Film Club, which is coming into the fray in 2025. I don't know how we're going to do that. I guess it'll be easier than book club. We just watch a movie and we come together and we talk about it. Probably be much like a book. Probably easier. So that's that. Thank you, everybody, for this. I will see you tomorrow night to close out the week with Matt, I think, at 7 o'clock. In the meantime, get to QuiteFrankly.tv and enjoy the rest of the evening. I will talk to you soon, and thanks for the company.
I'll catch you on the flip side.